Hey team, what is going on? We're going to do some artwork today, so give me a minute here. I'm going to check in on my signal here to make sure that we're coming through clearly, and then we're going to get back to work here. What we were working on. I'm going to check in on my signal here to make sure. Oh yeah, it's loud and clear, my guy. All right, cool. Let's drop that down so it doesn't get in the way. I'm going to grab the link here. I've got some really fast social media posts to do, and then we'll go ahead and get to work. So just bear with me here for a minute while I paste a couple times into the social medias, the Sky, the X, Twitter, the Discord communities, and that is good to go. So hey, my name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games, I illustrate them, and I publish them online, and I'm creating content for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition using the 2024 rules. We're making an adventure called Crystals of Mabar. It's for 7th and 8th level characters. We're fighting undead, demons and necromancers in the Carnwood of Corvair. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications when we're live in the future. Here's a bunch of books I've already created on the DMsGuild. They all have free previews, as will this adventure. Today, we are going to continue. I'm going to grab that there and then raise this up a smidge here. Bring that in. There we go. Book cover made around episode 40. We're working on character tokens today. So here is the token where we left off with the Church of the Silver Flame, the Heavy. We're calling him the Heavy. So I'm going to get this axe out of the way, and this is a single layer. Here you can cut through it, see. And when we were previously here yesterday, we had the line art that we started with, and then we filled in all of the color, and you can see here we break up the color into separate layers. Like here's the flats, and then we add shadow and then highlights, and once we have all of the highlights and shadows for the different forms, for the different segments, we got the armor, we've got the underclothing, we've got hair, and then we've got flesh. So those are generally the 4 layers that we work in, and then we bind that to the line art, and that's where we get this this fused form here that we had started. Again, you can just cut through; it's all one layer. So we did cleanup on the silhouettes, and now we have begun detail work. This is probably not going to take very long for us to complete. And then we'll transition into whatever the next piece is. But I just wanted to finish out. I just wanted to finish this series out here with getting all these, getting this dude resolved here in the morning, and then there's another piece that we already have lined up for us to work on. But we're going to spend probably a few minutes of time just showing how we're going to stitch this into the page where it belongs, and then we'll move on to the next piece. So we got to open up the adventure document and insert these character illustrations where they belong on the page where they're introduced, and then on the following page there's another illustration that we get to work on. So I'm going to push up the smudge strength of this to 80%, so that's easy for me to push these pixels around. There we go, like that, see? So it is Wednesday here in Seattle. I do game design on Mondays and Thursday nights. We do artwork like this Monday through Fridays in the morning. When all of the art for the Eberron book is done, we'll be able to publish it. Off screen, I've been working on breaking up all the different maps and placing them throughout the adventure, or rather all the pages of the adventure. When it publishes, it's broken into like the different sections of the map, describing each location on the page, and then we have the map on the same page that it's being described for visual clarity, and then we just basically plow through all of the maps, breaking them up room by room, area by area, and that is probably the bulk of the I'd say obviously the bulk of the adventure is like locations and encounters and stuff like that the characters will have. let's curve this in a bit here, just to sculpt these pauldrons a little bit more. And we can bring this one in here. Those curves going on. Like that. We have the luxury this morning of being able to mince on some details here with this dude. So we're going to work on it for a little while. Just get all the angles right and just clean it up. Make it a good clean form. There's free music that YouTube provides that doesn't require any kind of licensing or notation in the description down below that I'm using. It's just free access music that we have that creators can use. And when I first, I've only used it twice in stream. This is Epidemic music that we're listening to right now, the Epidemic website, but it used to be $8 for me to use Epidemic, and it's currently $18. So I'm thinking about ditching it and just going to the free YouTube music model. And I'm still I've got a stigma to it because the big shift in viewership happened around about when I had COVID. And I came back from COVID and I was like, where the hell are all my numbers? And everything died. And but it was at that same time that I first tried using YouTube music, and I think I have a false association that the YouTube music killed a lot of my viewership, when it's in reality it's whatever those algorithms did is ended up completely shafting everybody's view ratios. So I should really give the YouTube music another go, since it didn't actually apparently have any impact on my channel. So we'll probably be exploring that sometime this week, maybe tomorrow. But this is Wednesday, so we'll be back tomorrow night to continue working on updating the Spelljammer Combat and Exploration document that we published last year, where now that 2024 is a thing. But since the new rule set has come out, and I've been DMing it for months now, I'm comfortable with going back through the document and updating it with the changes to 2024 to affect how the spelljamming ships work. So we'll be working on that tomorrow night. And yeah, I'm really mincing on these pauldrons here. There we go. They're important. It's maybe not. They help define the silhouette of the character strongly. So I wanted to spend a little bit of time just to make sure that they came through looking pretty good. I'm gonna add in some highlight here. Add some highlight over here. Like that. Rough it up a little bit. There we go. Hey, what is going on, viewer? Hold on, I'll take a look at who we have. What's up? Hey, Fernando. Man, I'm feeling a hell of a lot better. Thanks for asking. That COVID just completely kicked my ass last week. I did a lot of bed sleeping, but it's over. I took my lumps and I survived, so I'm back in the saddle and we'll keep on keeping on. There, that feels good. Thanks for asking, my man. I really appreciate you. Smooth that out. There we go. Let's bring that in here. What's up? Where'd you post on Discord? I thought the COVID was something of the past. No, it's All over the place, man. You either just catch it or you don't. I took a I blame myself. I only go into the office in downtown Seattle once a month, and like 2 weeks from now, I'll be downtown for the day. So like I won't be streaming Wednesday the 15th, I think. And so I jump on a commuter bus and kick downtown because I can't drive. And so while I was on the bus, I'm pretty sure that's where when I was packed into a steel tube with people for an hour, that's probably where I picked it up. And I was on the bus on Wednesday, and by Thursday I could tell I was sick, and by Friday I completely collapsed. And it took me, like a good solid 5 days. Like I didn't eat for 5 days. I pretty much just pretty much just slept. Lost 10 pounds in those 5 days off. I think a lot of it was just like sick weight. I've gained five of them back here in pretty much short order, but it was quick and easy weight loss, which was one of my October objectives, to get back down to 215 pounds, and that is where I'm currently at. Yeah, that looks good. Now we can stop whinging on those details, and we can start working inside here. But yeah, COVID's all around us. It's just a matter of, is it a strain that you'll catch or not? Yeah, that looks pretty good. There. Open it. I wish I could. Yeah, it was a hot day and the air conditioning was out. They said, hey, we don't have any air conditioning. If you want to wait for the next bus, it'll probably be more comfortable. But that was going to be an extra 30 minutes of basically standing around in the heat. So I'm like, yeah, I'll just go ahead and endure. It. Well, joke's on me. Probably should have not taken the heated bus. But I am a firm believer that the only reason you get sick is because you need downtime for whatever you aren't giving yourself time to do. And in my case, it was I wasn't giving myself a chance to get any rest, basically. I was just banging all cylinders all the time. And COVID's any kind of sickness, any kind of fever is a great opportunity for nature to say, slow down there and get some rest in. I haven't had any coffee since then. I haven't felt compelled to, so it was like a chance for me to get away from coffee. It's when nature makes you sick and shuts you down, it's a chance for the body to recalibrate, to drain its dopamine levels, for you to reset your body back to more of a factory setting, and then start rebuilding. At least that's what I've always believed about being sick. So I've never regretted or been lamented about being sick. It's like, no, my body knows when it knows when it needs to shut down and basically do like a how would you say, it's almost like it's almost like defragging your hard drive. You're cleaning up everything and giving your body a chance to flush stuff out of your system that you normally might not be able to wash out because you're, eating too much food, to give your body a chance to reset itself, or you're not getting enough sleep, so your body doesn't have a chance to dump off like the lymphomic system to get the gunk out of your brain pan, stuff like that. So I could be angry when I get sick, but that's just me spending energy on being angry when I could just lay low, recognize the wisdom of what my body wants to do, and let it reset itself. It'll be healthy again when it wants to be healthy, when it's done doing what it thinks it needs to do. And there's nothing none of us can really do about our body making that decision for us. We're just basically souls running around in meat suits, and the meat suit has its own intelligence that isn't a cognitive thing. It's just chemicals and instincts. But again, it has the ultimate authority on what happens and how long you stay here. So you gotta respect the body. Gotta let it do what it want to do. Yeah. Well, hey, Dragon, it's good to see you, my guy. How you doing? It's getting our pixels in. This is the last NPC that I need for this particular set. So we're going to be we'll be starting in on a new illustration here in a little bit. I'm just whinging on details because I can. Because I don't feel pressured for anything. I like how this guy's turning out though. Just slowly working our way down the page and resolving the line art into the color to make everything smooth and work together. Let's reduce that. Change my microphone focus. It should be better there. Scrape through there. I'll catch up with you here in a second. Hold on. There we go. Fun little details. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, man. That's rough. I had 3 cats. They all died within 2 years of each other, ages 18, 24, and 18, 22, and 22. 2 of them were in the same litter, and yeah, it's sad. Cats are forever friends, man. They just keep going and going forever. Love cats so much. They're so loving and adorable. I don't know. I don't have any cats currently, and I don't intend to anytime soon. But there's a stray in the neighborhood that lets me pick him up and carry him with me when I'm heading home at night. If I'm out running around with Miguel or whatever, little baby lets me pick him up. It's so adorable. Love cats. Love, love, love cats. This belly plate here is looking a little bit too plain, so I'm gonna add some grill details to it here just to fancy it up a smidge. It's like the face of a Cylon. I love it. Yeah, really. Whew, 26. What a run. Talk about family familiars, you know? That's like a generational pet. There we go. I like this line work here. I used to have a setup that I had my computer here, and then there was a couch directly next to like here's my computer where I work, and then we had a couch that was here, like the back of the couch. It was a thick leather couch, and my seat was here, and then there was a wall here, and then there was a wall here, and then the TV was over here. It's like there's a little walled off little nook over here. And while I was working, the cat, his name was Cletus, he would lay here and hang out with me on the computer. And when I was doing painting like this, you know, I have my hands set up on my keyboard here. Sometimes he would lay like this and just lay his head on my forearm, because I'd be painting like this, and he would just lay his head like on my elbow and just sleep. It was so cute. It was so adorable. Get rid of that. Cats are just such cuties. That looks pretty good. Care for better. Nice. Love to hear it, man. Cutie. That is adorable. God, I love cats. So cute. Grab there, and then here. I need to extend this down a little bit. Coming through here, we're just adding the little details, right? Just adding in the fleshing it out so it looks intentional. And like I said, we're working our way down the body, and then once we get to the base, we'll have an opportunity just to see about like any kind of like clasps and buckles and stuff like that we might want to add in. And then we'll finish this piece, and we'll move on to the next one. This is the last character sketch that we need to do for this leg of the project. So we're going to switch to doing some landscapes next. There we go. Hey, I asked while you were trying to review. Oh yeah. You said do an option. Right, great. Okay, so I think my favorite time in Spelljammer was in a play-by post back in probably like around 2004. It was the characters were in a they had a it's play-by post, right? So combat is de-emphasized, character interaction and backstory is increased. I would say most of like the adventuring was more in the exploration pillar than anything, although we did have some combat over play-by post, but it's such a slow style of gaming that it doesn't really lend itself to round-to-round combat. This was back in 3rd edition. So we were playing Spelljammer. I've played Spelljammer. I didn't play a lot of D&D in 4th edition. I mostly played Gamma World using the 4th edition rules. But so every 2nd edition, 3rd edition, and obviously now in 5th edition, I've got Spelljammer going. And the rules have evolved a lot, obviously, over time. When we were running Spelljammer in 3rd edition, it was mostly just ability checks, and the damage that you would take to your ship was reflected in stacking penalties against the pilot. So your ship could take any amount of damage and can continue flying as long as the pilot could continue making pilot checks. And it's, Pathfinder 1/3rd edition. It was basically like your stat modifier plus a continuously increasing bonus of like your level +3 or half your level is basically the modifiers, the maximum modifiers you can get on ability checks. It's like when you had like a 15th level fighter, they could have like a +18 to their ability checks, or to a proficiency, to a skill proficiency. And so we made piloting a skill proficiency. So at 13th level, you could have a +20 to your pilot check. So as long as you rolled above 0, the ship would constantly be, the ship was good. And as you got into combat and you took more and more damage, every time you took a hit, it would reduce your skill by 1. Kind of like exhaustion in 5e. Whenever your ship would get hit, the pilot would gain a degree of exhaustion, essentially, on their ability check, and it would eventually drive it down to 0. And when it hit 0, you would wreck. And then when you did repair work, the repair work on your ship was essentially, this is how much damage the pilot took before it finally crashed. Like, they had like a +25 to their check, and they eventually hit a 0, which means that +25 had been eliminated. That's 25 points worth of repair that you need on your ship. And like for magical repair, it was essentially each spell slot that you expended was worth 1 ability point worth of damage to the ship. And in that manner, it was very, very simple. It was like an incredibly simple, non-complicated. It was all, at that point, theater of the mind. So that's how we could get away with doing ship combat and play by post, because you would just talk about, you would describe whatever ridiculous maneuvers it is you were trying to do during your turn, and you'd make your pilot check, and as long as you were scoring above a 0, you could pull it. Generally, you could pull it off, or your ship will get damaged, or whatever it is that you got going on. Anyway, so that's the context, right? Play by post, it heavily de-emphasizes tactical combat. It's far more about character interaction and team dynamics and development, and then what adventuring you go on is generally going to be like Scooby-Doo sort of exploration framework. So, having said all that, my favorite instance in play by post was the team had a carrier ship that was like a good 400 feet long. It was a massive craft, or a massive vessel. And the back end, so it was like a traditional pirate ship, except it was 400 feet long, and it had masts like this, and we were using Eberron ideas, so it had an elemental power ring here that created the stability for the air bubble on the ship. And what was fun about it, in this particular instance, the back of it like this, right? You had your back, your aft castle, you have your forecastle, and then you got here, and you had like 5 levels. Anyway, something like this was the back of it, and the back of it was a hangar bay door, basically. And it was actually a wyvern's roost. No, it was a griffin's roost. Thank you. So in here so we had the ship, and there was a roost of 6 griffins that basically lived in this back section here of the ship. Like, that's where the roost was at, and we had a contingent of 5 basically. In Ravnica, you'd call them like skyjacks. They were basically flying knights that were trained in flying griffins. So they would have this aviary where the griffins were kept at, and then we'd pop the bay door, and then we could just like launch griffin riders out of the back of the ship to act as fighter pilots, like to act as little fighter craft to defend the ship when we were in battle, along with the cannons and stuff that were on the ship itself. So the most fun I think I had in that campaign, since it was play by post, and it was more about interactions with the characters and story, and as the main focus of the story development, The players had like 14th level characters that were the commanders of the ship, and then we had these cascading roles. So like 13th level characters had 9th level hirelings, and the 9th level hirelings had 5th level hirelings, and the 5th level hirelings could have 1st level. What would that word be? Squires. Thank you. So 1st level, 5th level, 9th level, 13th level, and as everyone ratcheted up, by the time the team got to 17th level, then 13th level, then we could cascade down. So the team was actually running 3 different adventuring parties: 13th level, 9th level, and 5th level, all at the same time. And the Griffin riders were 5th level. So it was the most time that we spent with those characters in the game was basically we were role playing them playing poker on the ship between missions. So they were Marines. They didn't have anything to do right now, so let's just let's have some beer and let's play some cards. And so we basically, for probably 3 weeks worth of posts, we're basically just playing hands of poker, talking trash to each other, and just making up stories about our characters' backgrounds and different adventures that the characters had supposedly gone on that we were thinking about using as fuel for advancing them as NPCs over time. And so that, though it wasn't a particular adventure unto itself, but it was the downtime in between the adventures that those characters all just basically got drunk and shot the shit with each other. And we had 5 players on the team and a DM, so there was 6 of us, and each of the players had a different skyjet pilot or a skyjet marine, and we all had 13th level characters and 9th level, mid-level characters, and you get it. So I just think them playing poker, and I was the DM, so them playing poker, I think, was my absolute favorite instance of a Spelljammer campaign, where they just riffed for weeks on just making up stories about their characters and imagining these little quirky interactions with each other. And play-by-post is really, I think, good play-by-post emphasizes allowing each other to fill in details about each other casually. Like to make up relationships with each other about how they got to know each other, and everyone just kind of going along with what the idea was. And when you have a team that all really trusted each other's narrative beats, it was a lot of fun just to make up stories about characters and to riff like that. I think an actual campaign was also 3rd edition, and this was right before 5th edition had come out. We were using my Eberron campaign, the Spelljammer Eberron campaign that I run, where instead of Eberron being one solid world, it's just a cluster of asteroids that were in orbit around the core of the planet. That was a magical wild surge system. This would be Karnath, and this would be Thrain, and this would be Aundare, and these would be the Eldine Reaches, and Dram was over here. And this would be these would all be in orbit around this central core, so I could fly through the core to get from Karnath to Aundare this way. But I had to go through a wild storm at the center of what was the planet. Otherwise, I have to circumnavigate around the asteroids to avoid the core. And then you have the asteroid belt that encircles it from there. So a wild core system, floating asteroids. The asteroid belt, and then beyond that is where you'd start spilling into wild space, and the actual moons of Eberron that were beyond the asteroid belt. There's 13, but you can only find 12 of them. And in my campaign, the moons aren't actual locations; they're portals that lead to whatever plane of existence that the moon, like Sybaris, for instance. Sephiroth, thank you. Sephiroth is the planet that is linked to the plane of Mabar, where this adventure is taking place. So if you were to go to the moon, depending on the phase of the moon, depends on how open the portal is, that would lead you to Mabar. And you could just fly your ship through the moon into Mabar. And when it was a new moon, the portal was completely closed and you couldn't access the plane. When the moon was full, the portal was completely open and things could spill out of it into space, but it was so far away, it was rarely a problem. But the closer you got to the moon, the more you would encounter creatures that were relevant to that. So my favorite like tactical combat type stuff was the team was the campaign was themed around the Pirates of Lazar. That the characters were in the fourth house of the princes, and they were part of there was a coup, and the rightful heiress, or the princess, who would have been the fourth princess, got usurped by her uncle and exiled, and the team and ran across them and some, like, they were doing some like low level pirate stuff, and then they targeted the team, and the team was able to resist them in their ships, and then got involved with this princess trying to regain her throne for the fourth seat of Lazar. And that became the campaign. And during the course of it, they ended up picking a fight with Karnath along the way because they were using Karnath military supply lines to provide all of their booty for their own pirating. And so they pissed off the Karnath navy and ended up being attacked by them. So the team had a night spider that they'd stolen from Droam and modified to be their carrier ship. And in this campaign, Karnath, the nation of Karnath, basically, here, hold on, I'll find it for you. Their ships were like Voltron, enemy. I forgot the name of the ships, the name of the people, but let's see. Let's see if I can find an example of them. If I could remember the name of who Voltron was fighting, it'd probably be easier for me to find them. But alas, earwax. It was the lions. Hold on then. Voltron lions. What was the name of the enemy fleet? Vehicle teams. This is a failing venture. Maybe this will get us in the direction that we need to go. Nope. This isn't going well. This is supposed to be me finding the skull. They had these. Hold on. Let's try this. Voltron skull ships. Nope, it's not going well. This is a tank toy, but all their ships. I've failed on this mission, so I'm going to digress. So they had all their carrier ships were basically like giant turds, right? Like with wings and stuff, but they had giant skulls on the prow of all their ships. So it looked like giant undead whales type of creatures, but like human skulls. That's how we designed the Zentradi ship to be in the campaign, and they had little bay doors off the side, and they can launch little fighter craft out of. And the fighter craft were basically like this, except they had skulls on their nose as well. So we just called them skull ships. You always tell it was the Karnath were coming for you because the skull ships would start showing up. Pew, 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 pew. They'd fire necrotic bolts of damage, and that was a lot of fun. So the team, the team on their Night Spider basically flanked up on one of these carrier ships, and these things are 500 feet long. and the team boarded the carrier and started running around like Star Wars style inside the ship, basically wreaking havoc on the different like the power cells and the defense batteries, and the ships were designed to be bristled with undead troops. It's like they had like all these little like the ship had all these knobs on it, like little like studded leather like studs, except that the studs could roll back and open up like a clamshell, and there would be undead inside of them, like skeletons. So there'd be 2 skeletons per nub, and the thing was just covered in these bumps. So if you tried to, when you invaded and tried to land on the ship, all these little clamshells would open up, and the ship would suddenly be crawling with undead on it. And so the team, sprung that trap and had their ship getting attacked by a bunch of undead, while the characters dropped into the ship to try to start tearing it apart from the inside out, fighting troops and like at the bridge. And there was like we built an entire 500-foot vessel with all the maps for the characters to run around inside of like a mega dungeon, just tearing it apart while there's fighter craft fighting the ships on the outside. So they at the time we were just focusing on the characters. But that was a ton of fun, them raiding that ship. Hopefully this is answering your question. If this is if you think this stuff if it's interesting. So there, the end. They eventually crashed the thing. They destroyed the bridge and the quote unquote engine rooms that we were using for magical furnaces, and so they ended up scrapping that carrier and ended up crashing, and they got away explosion style, and that was a really fun campaign. And we're almost done with this character. Thanks for the reminder, man. I like talking about stories like that. Hopefully that little fever dream there was entertaining to listen to. But that was my official answer. Character development: the Wojak pilots are the Griffin riders. For combat, it was the Karnath carrier raid. Or not? Yeah, Karnath. Yeah. That's the same campaign setting that my current team is running around inside of running the asteroid belt mining campaign. That's that same world setup with like the asteroids in orbit around the magical core of the planet. That was fun. Get that fleshed out there. Pardon the pun. Right on. Sometimes I just start rambling and I don't really check myself that much. So I appreciate the confirmation. Thank you. Mischief managed, right? In 5e, I would say so far my favorite Spelljammer activity was still in Descent into Avernus. And although I like the team in my current campaign a couple weeks ago started fighting giant space dark mantles, right? Dark mantles are like squid-like creatures, right, with a bunch of tentacles that can fly. They're basically like small little flying squids that when they are hiding, they look like stalactites and stalagmites. And then they unfurl and they can fly around and attack people and like grip onto people's heads and suck their brains out. Well, in the current campaign, they're the main enemy, or rather the biggest grudge the team has is with the Droam. And Droam is all about monsters, right? It's like a nation of monsters, and like most of their Most of their like combat, like their armies and stuff, have like are gargoyles and trolls and ogres. So like they've got a lot of heavy, high, like mid-level CR creatures that basically are their citizens. And here in space they train, they breed and train massive creatures. So these space squids are like 100, anywhere from 50 to 250 feet in size, which is pretty typical for Spelljammer. And the team are basically running around in Veritex, like from Robotech. They can use a major helm, the 100 million miles per day. They can do major speed, like high speed when they're in the form of a jet, and when they're in a mecha or Gerwalk form, like with limbs and stuff, with like weapons and shields and shit at the 50-foot, like they're 50-foot fighter craft that are basically giant robots that then, like, you know, Robotech style, fold up in the jets and can fly. So that's they were fighting 200, anywhere from, like, they were fighting a swarm of squids basically that were trying to take over a section of orbit that the characters were supposed to be mining. But Droam sent this flock of, we call them space krakens, basically sent a contingent of space krakens to fuck with the team. So they've got fighter pilots, and they've got spelunkers, and they've got diplomats, and they've got an espionage team of like spy assassins. So the team has, the players have 4 different teams running these different types of missions, not just one character that each player focuses on. It's a Dominion, it's a Bastion campaign. So when they're trying to accomplish different things and develop different resources and stuff, and, you know, mining asteroids to gain wealth and shit to maintain their lifestyle, complications occur, as we've discussed. And so depending on what the complication is, it's either like an espionage mission, or it's a space combat mission, or it's a delving mission, or it's a diplomacy mission. They're currently on a diplomacy mission right now, so they're like negotiating with different factions and shit as basically like exploration and social challenges. But prior to that, they're fighting space squids, and so they decide which threat is their highest priority. And that's what we run the adventure as. So it's like, yeah, we want to fight space squids this week. I was like, great, well, I'm going to go ahead and make some space squid challenges for you, and have your pilot team gassed up and ready to go when we start game next week. And that was just a lot. So most of the time, the adventure they decide to go on is just whatever they think is going to be the most fun to do, which is the way to do it. And they're like, man, we haven't done a diplomacy mission in a while, and there's a wormhole opened up in their territory, and the Zilargo government is trying to purchase or take that region away from the players through eminent domain. So the team is attempting to use diplomacy and like negotiation options, like insight checks and intimidation and diplomacy and all these different ability checks to try to negotiate with Zilargo, because Zilargo has the right to claim eminent domain, but the team has already been messing around with the wormhole and has discovered a number of things about it that Zilargo doesn't know yet. So they're currently negotiating. It's like, hey, we've already put in time and effort on this. We want to be involved. So right now they've realized they can't stop Zilargo from interceding, but they can be part of the away team that does the experiments and explores and put up their resources at risk during the exploration, and basically get funded by Zilargo to investigate the wormhole, which is what they wanted to do anyway. So it's all folding together nicely. Basically, they're just doing a resource grab right now to get more Bastion points to expend on efforts exploring the wormhole than what they would have had otherwise. So they really kind of saw through the fake threat pretty quickly. It's like, oh, wait a second, if we work with these guys, we're going to get like big resources. So let's figure out how we can negotiate ourselves to be at the table with them instead of competing against them. And so far, it's working out. It's working out well for them. So let's add this axe back in. Yeah, that's okay. I need to flatten this down a bit. I don't like this. I don't like this Michelin Man sort of look. So I need to resculpt the armor a little bit to make it a little bit more complementary. Nope, not like that. Here. Sculpt like that. That's starting to feel pretty good. This guy doesn't have to look too cool. He's an NPC. He's like a CR1 mercenary. He's a nobody, but he hasn't. You know, him and this whole NPC team. They've been here longer than the players have, so they know more what's going on than the players do. So if the players rescue them, if the DM puts them in their path to be rescued, and the team decides to do so, they provide information about what's going on and helps the team get up to speed on what's going on in the adventure more quickly. That feels pretty good like that. We're just about done here. Let's get this. Let's get these ham fists cleaned up a little bit. What's up? Do you know how much time have you spent in your books? You mean like making books? Like how much time have I spent actually building these books? Is that what you mean? Because we're at like episode 565 of me making assets for this adventure. I play tested it as a DM 4 different times. I've had 3 other DMs run it as well, and then we had the production time of actually creating the adventure and all of the plot points and how the adventure actually runs. And then I have off-screen time where I'm doing like page layouts and stuff. I've probably sunk at least 2,500 hours into this particular adventure. It's ridiculous the amount of time that I've spent on this. We spent about 7 months playtesting the Spelljammer mechanics that we have published. I've ran 3 whole campaigns from level 1 to 20 using the color mana system that we have. So I mean, I don't know if I necessarily know what you're asking, but I spend a shitload of time. Like when I build a book, I play test it. I run the stuff in that book to make sure that it actually works, instead of just like coming up with ideas and spitting them out there. It's like, maybe this works, maybe this doesn't. It's like, no, I know the shit that I publish works because I actively use all of it in campaigns from level 1 to 20. So yeah, it's it's what I do, man. I've been running games in D&D for like 35 years, and I've been aware of D&D for 38. So like I've been around the block like a lot. And so most of the campaigns that I run are inspired by what's a cool supplement that I want to build, and how would I build it, and how would that run? Those questions lead me to creating a campaign, and then having people participate in the campaign to test the ideas to make sure they work the way that I want them to before we actually publish. So it's a really long window of time, and massive. I mean, these are hours that I was going to spend playing anyway. It's just at the end of the campaign, I get to make I get to publish a book. So it's not wasted time for me at all. I'm going to paint, I'm going to DM, I'm going to run games, and I'm going to do artwork for those games, and I'm going to make maps for those games. This is just me making books is just a way to kind of like formalize the process and potentially make some money as a result of it. So it's something I'm gonna do anyway. I'm just kind of like focusing a direction. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. This is just me basically focusing my energy towards a goal in making these books. They're gonna, I'm gonna do this stuff regardless, but I have the chops and ability to express, like, here's how you could run this sort of a campaign book. Perfect. That axe is going to sit perfectly here. And that's how we make the axe fit. I just need to skew it. I think I just need to skew a touch there. That feels pretty good. I like that. I like that overlapping there. That feels good. Yep, this is almost done. Going to let's merge these together. Duplicate the group. Merge the group. Now the axe is overlapping, but it's its own layer. We can drop in here. And what's your favorite character you've ever? My absolute favorite type of character. In 5th edition, my absolute favorite type of character is Divine Soul Sorcerer, where you get access to both the cleric and the arcane spell list. And obviously using spell points, it like the action, like the efficiency of mana with clerics is ridiculous. Like Guiding Bolt spell, it's a 1st level spell, only costs 1 mana to pop it, and it's 4d6 damage, 4d6 radiant damage, and like 4 6-sided dice, like 4d6. You know how math works. Just for the audience that doesn't understand, 46 versus 4 6-sided dice. It's there you go, 4d6 radiant damage, and if I hit, you have advantage on the next target. The next person that attacks that target before my next turn gets advantage, or by the end of my next turn gets advantage. So I can double tap it. I can use Quickened. I can use Quickened Guiding Bolt for 3 mana, and then still be able to, or rather use Guiding Bolt like normal for 1 mana, and then pop 2 mana on a cantrip. So I can fire Guiding Bolt, and then I can back it up with like Toll the Dead or Ray of Frost or whatever utility spell I want to use against the characters. But having full access to the cleric list and the arcane list and being able to modify them with meta magic is just. I'm currently playing a 6th level Divine Soul in a Curse of Strahd campaign, and it's just the radiant, like the Guiding Bolt against undead has just been critical at points of keeping our team from losing more people than we have. It's been I absolutely fucking love the Divine Soul Sorcerer. Such a cool character build, because you get the best of cleric and sorcerer at the same time. And it's like, yeah, I've been chosen by this god to have these divine powers, so I guess the gods are real and they love me. So I should, do my best. Whatever. Blah, blah, blah. But it's super fun. I absolutely love that. In 3rd edition, my favorite type of character was from the Book of Nine Swords. It's the Sword Sage, which is... it wasn't as much of a protector heavy class as the Crusader was, and it's not as it can't spam things the way that the what was the basic like alternate martial, I forget what it was called, but the Sword Sage had the ability to swap abilities quickly. And it knew more powers than the other martial classes could. It just didn't have the largest mana supply, so you had to. It was basically like a spell point pool. It was like you would regain your spell points on a long rest, and you could take actions to regain mana again before you take your rest. But it had a lot of versatility, so I liked blending this because the Sword Sage had access to a bunch of teleport powers, and so my favorite builds, because we would play epic level characters like levels 18 to 28. And at that level in 3rd edition, you had access to so many prestige classes. I would build a Warlock, Sword Sage, Telflamar Shadow Pouncer. Telflamar Shadow Pouncer was one of the prestige classes in one of the 3rd edition Forgotten Realms books. Telflamar, thank you, or Telflam, I think is the name of the country. It basically like has formal assassin guilds, and they have like all this Cult of Shadow stuff going on for them. So that prestige class allowed its keystone ability when you gain 10th level in the prestige class was that you could whenever you teleport, you can make a full attack. And normally rogues, like it was designed for rogues, and rogues generally only have one attack as their attack action. But when you blend in Sword Sage, you ended up getting 3 attacks per round. And when you took levels of Warlock and you took the Eldritch Glaive, you could basically convert your Eldritch Smite, your Eldritch Blast spell into a melee weapon that you can make multiple attacks with. And so the way that the Telflamar Shadow Pouncer worked was every time you teleport during your turn, wherever you arrive, you can make a full attack. So that wouldn't be a big problem if you're specifically playing a rogue with only one attack. I teleport in, I can make an attack. But I had 3 attacks every time I got the attack action. And every time I teleported, I got the attack action. And by around level 9 as a Sword Sage, I could teleport as an action, a bonus action, a move, a reaction, and they had a swift action. So I could pull off 5 attacks per round, and every time I attacked, I'd get 3 attack rolls. So I could crack out 15 attacks. I could only do it 3 times, like full bore like that. I could only do it 3 times before I needed to recover resources. But when I needed to open up, oh my god, it was a ridiculous build. And of course, I had all this thiefly and shadow goodness and all this mobility stuff coming from the Sword Sage, from the teleports and being able to evade. And it was a combat soldier, man. That guy was rough and ready. It was fun as hell. My other favorite prestige class in 3rd edition was the Shadow Dancer, which was another rogue variant. But its big shtick was that you got shadows as minions, like shadows that deal strength damage when they hit something. And once you got into epic levels as a shadow, once you got into epic levels of Shadow Dancer, you could have CR9 shades that could do 3d4 strength damage every time they hit, and you could have 9 of them. So I could just send this swarm of shadows after whatever I wanted. It would just drain their strength to 0. And in 3rd edition, each ability score had a condition when you got to 0. Constitution is death. Strength is paralysis. Dexterity was paralysis. Intelligence was feeble mind. Wisdom, I think, was fear. Charisma was feeble mind as well. Comatose. So if you drain the stat down to 0, that's the condition you would apply to your foe. So I could just sick a swarm of shadows on someone, drop their strength to 0, paralyze them, and then as a rogue, I could just sneak attack them and slit their throat. Super fun. Super, super fun build. Horrible, nasty build. But, when you're dealing with 25th level characters, that's the kind of shit you can expect them to do. And that's the kind of game that our team ran for years in 3rd edition. 3rd edition was king for 15 years. And we played with all the fucking tools in the sandbox. Like every time we gained a level, that would be the level of the campaign that we would run. So over time we ratcheted it up, so we were building 22nd level characters. Like, hey, let's run a new campaign. Everyone builds 22nd level characters, and let's do a thing. And we were playing mostly in Planescape, where, you know, unlimited demons and no limit to the CRs. So the threats could remain ratcheted up to the level that could actually challenge characters of that level, in a setting where, like, yeah, you just pissed off Beelzebub. He's going to send 15 Mariliths after you as an assassin squad. Good fucking luck. Super fun. We had a team of 5 of us, and we would rotate between DMing. We all just learned so much about running games and how to deal with, like, high level threats. And then 5th edition came along, and 5th edition is so tame compared to 3rd edition. It's just it's like the stats aren't crazy, the abilities aren't crazy. It's like we looked at 5th edition, it's like, oh yeah, we could run this. Okay, let's go for it. And then we just started running level 1 to 20 campaigns. Super fun. I just want to do a little bit of detail here on his Vanguard, and then I'll be ready to move on to the next piece. So many people speak highly of 3.5, but I do not see people still playing it like it became Pathfinder. 1st edition Pathfinder is 3.75. So most people that stuck with 3rd edition either are just like really quiet. Like there's like on the Spelljammer Discord, there's a couple of people that play 3rd edition. Cicindrix, I think he plays 3rd edition, but a lot of people that like play 3rd edition ended up moving to Pathfinder. There, I need to mask over that, and then here. It was mechanically dense. It's as dense as Pathfinder. You know, they call it Pathfinder for a reason. The bonuses are ridiculous, the power curve is ridiculous, but when you're in that mode and that's how you play, you know, 3rd edition was in my 20s, and there's something about being in your 20s with gamers. It's like they like a lot of time they're either completely thespian or very mechanical, and our team was incredibly mechanical. So we loved all the mincing. We didn't care that it would take 40 minutes to finish a fight, because all the cool stuff we could do during that fight was super fun just to do. That's kind of how the Martial Powers campaign has been running on my Discord server. It's like, you know, it's 5th edition, and each character has like all these different things they can do with their action economy, and like you can, just like the Book of Nine Swords from 3rd edition, there's a ton of ways that you can build your character to do stuff. And 5e24 just gives marshals in general more stuff to do each round, but it's all those fiddly technical bits that are so fun to build a character that can perform the way that you want to. Like, we're 8th level. We're going to be 9th level this weekend. And so it's just building characters that have like their own unique action loop. It's kind of like Magic the Gathering. You create like a deck of a character that solves the problems of adventuring in specific ways, and then you run that character and see if they work the way that you want to, and if they're fun, just keep fucking playing them. So it's fun. It's just a lot of fun. But yeah, 3rd edition was highly technical and very fiddly. But if you're into those fiddly mechanics, it's such a great game. It's worth it if you don't mind spending stupid amounts of time on, because like 3rd edition combat takes longer than like a lot longer than 5th edition combat, because like a fighter has like 5 attacks at higher levels. It gets a little ridiculous. But if that's what you're into, then, you know, bully. go. That's starting to look pretty good. But as a DM, I'm highly invested in investigation. I love exploration, investigation, political intrigue, geopolitics, making deals, allowing the characters to like heists and shit like that. That's the kind of game that as a DM I love to run. But I've been running this high combat mega dungeon because we're playtesting martial powers, right? I have to run a campaign using the mechanics to make sure that they work the way that I want to. So that got me to basically create a dungeon crawl with high mob density, lots of traps, things to explore, to test different like boost mechanics for ability checks and stuff like that, and it's been working out really, really well. But yeah, there's a lot of different ways to play role playing, and once you really lock in on the style of game you like to play personally, it doesn't matter how much. Like people that like doing thespian stuff, they don't care how long they're having a conversation with some random NPC. They're just enjoying the expression of their character bullshitting. Combat's the same way. If you have a team that loves combat, they don't care how long the battle takes. It's they're having fun killing monsters with their abilities that they picked specifically to kill monsters. So if that's the type of team that you're in, like combat takes too long. The only people that say combat takes too long are people that don't enjoy combat on a round-to-round basis or don't have a team that pays attention. Because if you have people that love combat, they are dialed in and paying attention to what the hell is going on because they know it's going to be their turn soon, and this is why we're here. So like when you get in a highly efficient combat team, like a SWAT team of players that know how to work well together, combat's fucking fun because they're committed to the craft. It's when people don't enjoy combat that combat becomes sketchy. There, I think this, I think this guy's looking pretty good. Maybe fix his mouth just a little bit here. I'm rambling. Hey, what's up? The character's level 12 right now and has plus 13 Arcana check, which is so fun. Right on. There's no wrong way to play D&D or any role-playing game. It's just you gotta. It's mostly about the team that you're with. If the team that you're in, everyone gels with the same type of adventuring. If everyone likes running heists. If you have a game system that runs heists well, then your team is going to be happy for fucking ever. That's what I really like about 5th edition. 5th edition more than any other edition of D&D, because it's so easy to create different sort of little sub-mechanics to be able to run different types of games. Dungeon delves, heists, geopolitics. 5th edition is built as basically as dungeon punk delving. But I've been around the block for fucking ever, so I've played a lot of different types of games and different types of campaigns and inside different systems. So I can normally cobble together in like 15 minutes a different, like, quote-unquote game mode that's good enough to run for at least a few sessions to see how it gels and if it's something we enjoy or not. Which is what I really like about the campaign that I'm currently running, because there's those 4 different gears that the team can go through of either doing espionage and heists or combat missions and mecha, or diplomacy missions, where it's pretty much guaranteed just to be exploration and social with no combat at all. And then delving, where like, you know, dungeon delving, like traditional monster fighting stuff in tunnels and shit. All those elements exist, but they're all separated from each other, so they can choose the flavor adventure that they want to run that week, knowing that they're going to be basically using different types of different gears of the game system and different mechanics during that process. It's like we know we don't need characters that have any emphasis on combat or healing at all during diplomacy missions, so we can lean into like bards and sorcerers and rogues and like high charisma type characters, and emphasize skill checks and skill challenges as a team to overcome the obstacles to get what we want, as opposed to the combat, you know, as opposed to the mecha pilots. They're going to have fighter class type characters far more often because they get the combat, the attacking options. So they build their team around what type of mission they know that they're going to go on, and so that's a fun way to run campaigns. But I've done a lot of them both in play by post and at tables, like with cascading leadership. 3rd edition leadership skill was it gave you like hirelings of character, like an ogre mage. Like if you wanted to juice up ogre mages CR7, if you wanted to make it competitive at 13th level play, you would basically give it like 8 levels of character, like 8 levels of fighter or 8 levels of warlock or something. Basically tack on a character level onto the base chassis of the monster, and that's how you would skill. Like a fifth level wizard was a CR5 creature in 3rd edition or Pathfinder 1. So the DM got to make characters as much as the players did. But you know, the DM knows that this guy can do some cool stuff, but he's going to be dead in about 4 or 5 rounds. So, front load all the cool shit the guy could do, and knowing that, hey, you could actually build this character in the game at this level if you wanted to run that type of a character. So the DM in 3rd edition, like the DM was constantly showcasing, here's how I run monsters, which means here's how I run characters and NPCs in my world, and you can pick up and basically build on those with your own character as much as you want. So it was really fun that the DM and the players were basically playing the same game. 5th edition is a lot more, the DM plays a different game than the players do. But 3rd edition, it was all characters, classes, monsters. It was all the same. And once you had like the Savage Species book that converted monsters into character levels, you could like a Solar was like a CR. A Solar was effectively a 22nd level character. So when you're playing campaigns that start at 24th level, you could be like a Solar with 2 levels of Cleric or whatever. A lot of fun. And I think this guy's done. I don't think I need a mint on him anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and hit save and lock this one down. And that completes our team. So where are we at? It's 7:35. We've got about 20 minutes left. So it looks like we'll be. Let me go ahead and peel open the document where all these guys belong, and then we can start adding them in. So. Yeah, I like these guys. I think they're all cool. Hey, Gabby. Man, it's good to see you. It's been I had COVID 2 weeks ago, and I basically skipped a week or so of streaming so I could sleep. So everything's going pretty well so far. Here's the rogue. Yeah, I love how she turned out. I'm going to it's page 95 and 96. This is going to be the next illustration that we work on. This is Enrica, the rogue, and she's basically hiding in the graveyard, hiding from Emerald Claw Zealot patrol. Yeah, so this is basically going to be the next illustration that we work on. But here is where we're at right now. This illustration, this is Rumhilda Derica. She is a a diviner of the Silver Flame. They became aware of the manifest zone and sent a bunch of scouts in to go check it out, and the scouts went missing, so you get hired to find the scouts and to check in on that evil thing that's happening inside Karnath. Bring back details, please. So Enrica Fleur, Barrette Riston, Janka Bate, Liddell Flint. I always get a French vibe off of Thrain. I don't know why, but Thrain just feels French to me. So that's the motif of the names that we're going with. But so this is where the character portraits sit in for the characters. So Derica hires the characters to investigate the presence of evil in the Carnwood and recover the missing scouts, mercenaries, CR1. And then here's your 4 scouts. So obviously this is a token, like a combat token, and I don't need to have. I'm not going to do this full body here sitting on the page in this like little space that Enrica has here. So instead, what I want to do is like this. Something like, actually, what I should do before I resize, it's only 1 inch, right? It's a 300. Like this is a 300 by 300 inch, 300 pixel token, which is only 1 inch, and then this page here is 17 by 10. So like this is tiny. This is really, really tiny compared to what we need, but resizing is easy. So I'm going to extract similar. What's the word I'm trying to use here? Similar little busts of these characters. So give me a second here. I'm going to. Let's do it like this. Let's go. Duplicate the group and then merge. And then here, let's duplicate this group and then merge. Thanks for the love, guys. Really appreciate it. So F this week, my sister has gotten a diagnosis. Oh my God, that's horrible. I'm sorry. Oh. Wow. Yeah. I mean, obviously, COVID isn't as bad as cancer. But yeah, F this week, Gabs. For reals. Hey, Nightmare. It's good to see you, my guy. Duplicate the group. Merge down. Duplicate the group. Merge down. I'll grab this bit here. Copy. Paste. And go back here. Yeah, that was right. Copy, paste, and copy, paste. So here's our 4 heroes, and so we got Barrett is here. And Enrica is here. Here's Liddell. And here's Janka. And now I can resize these. Something like that.
Hey, prepping Eberron campaign. Gotta love it. All I got is my folder set up. And they go.
Right on. Yeah, you gotta start someplace, right? Let's see. I think this is about the right size for stuff, but maybe, no, I think I want these guys a little bit bigger than this. Maybe more like, about like that. Let's, let's see if I can trim these guys. I don't know if this is going to be the right way to do this or not, but this is what we're doing right now. Something like this. Something like this. I'm gonna have to fuck around with this a little bit to get these, to get these sitting correctly. But this is the gist of it, right? Along those lines. This isn't. I'm gonna have to spend some quality time. Maybe I'll back off of their silhouette. Maybe I'll back off the bus a little bit and like show more of their body. I don't know. It's something like this. But this is what I'll work on tonight to get these guys figured out properly. But there you go. That's our context. So your characters, your players will have an idea of who these guys are, and then when you get into the actual adventure. And you run across them, it's like, here's the tokens of the characters. Like, oh yeah, I know those guys. Those are the guys that we're looking for. Hey, what's going on? We're friends. Or I have no idea who you are. I'm going to kill you now because it looks like you're in my way. Now they'll become your rivals. It just depends on how you want to play it out. But I'm going to hit save here on this block. And let's go back in here and hit save for these dudes. Actually, let's go here. We can drop that in there and here. If I really want to be cheeky, I'll just use this actual... actually have her sitting here. That actually kind of works out. All I gotta do is give her some legs and take away her weapons. I'll need to change the grip here so like she's like more like hugging the side of this column instead of having knives out, because in this scenario she has escaped. Escaped prisoner Enrica Fleur is a scout of the Silver Flame. While her team was traveling within the Manifest Zone yesterday, they were ambushed by Carnathi soldiers. She and some of her team were captured and taken underground, held captive with a handful of villagers and other folk. If the adventurer began in part 1 and the characters are now traveling with Enrica's friends, they recognize her as she's running to escape the cemetery. If the adventure begins in part 2 at the edge of the manifest zone, Enrica instead tells the characters that the other scouts that you haven't ran across yet have been captured and may still be underground in part 3, area 11, the prison. She's eager to show the characters the hidden passage at area 6, the northern gazebo, and join the party to rescue her allies. So you don't need to have her, like, this is just one, like, if you're using the Church of the Silver Flame as your plot hook, this is creating NPCs that are sympathetic to your characters on the ground, like literally on the ground, needing help and being able to provide guidance for your characters to get where they need to be. If you're running a different plot hook and you're going through the cemetery, you could still run across her as like if you're going with a default plot hook of being deputized to investigate missing people. She shows, yeah, there's a hell of a lot of people that are held underground. I'm happy to help you if you can help me. There's some evil going on and I need your help with it. And she can explain all the exposition that your character, like if she was the adventuring party that was sent in here, because she has all the exposition from the Church of the Silver Flame. She knows all the plot hooks and all the plot points and all the details that the Silver Flame knows. And she can feed that information to your characters to fill in any missing gaps. So if during the adventure, your players are like, we're not really sure what's going on here, that's just a cue for the DM. Hey, we're just going to drop some NPCs from another plot hook into the environment to run across, so that when the characters interact with them, they can get some exposition and get the missing pieces of information that's frustrating them. So you can lead them down the path and help create their opinion about things depending on who it is that they encounter and what information those people have when they do. So it's a lot of fun. And another thing is that, like in these little side plots, during in the actual adventure itself, all the pages, like all the page space, is mostly eaten up by descriptions of different areas and the maps that correspond with those areas. And there's not a ton of just loose illustrations. There's a couple of loose illustrations that we're going to be able to include in the cemetery section that we'll get to here in probably next week or so. No, we're going to be doing the last plot hook next, once we get this page done. And then we'll move on to the final plot hook, the Gatekeeper Druids. But once we get done with the Gatekeepers, then we're going further forward in the book and looking for these little pockets of space that are large enough for us to put a decent illustration inside of. But most of this interesting context, like locations and stuff, is being dropped in here in the back of the book, where we have space open to be able to just have illustrations for the sake of illustrations. Most of the actual content pages where like the cemetery is described, all that real estate is being eaten up by diagrams and maps. So we don't have a lot of fluff area left open to mess around with. So this back end, these appendices with these alternate plot hooks where we're modifying what happens in these different areas, is an opportunity for me to create little environmental illustrations of that area, so that you can, so that the DM gets a better idea by reading the whole adventure and then getting into the alternate plot hooks with the added details. You also are getting added visual information about the different locations that are inside of the adventure. So we can stay technical where we need to have technical information, but we have this whole like 30-page appendix where we can be feeding in all of these illustrations that we've been doing to give just a sense of flavor and atmosphere and narrative for what the adventure like feels and looks like. So I'm really loving how this is all turning out. And it's 7:52, so this is where I'm going to hit the brakes. So when we come back tomorrow, we're going to work on this cemetery environment piece, and then once we finish that, next week at some point, we'll start in on the Gatekeepers with the plot hook and your quest giver and all that other stuff, like the illustrations that go along with the Gatekeepers. So we're working our way through the books, guys. We'll get to the end point at some point. And like I said, when we run out of illustrations, essentially the book's done. And we can publish. I'll have to do all the hyperlinking and all the stringing up and stuff. But once I get done with all the here, I'll show you guys before I bounce for the day. This is what I was working on last night. Here, Act 3, the underground facility. Like here I'm breaking up the map into separate little chunks. Here's part 3 within the Nexus, and here's the map. And I still need to add area 1, area 2, area 3. Area 3 is the teleportation chamber. Area 4 is the mess hall and commons quarters, like the barracks. Sorry. This is gatehouse. This is the barracks. This is the teleportation chamber. This is the storehouse. This is the laboratory. This is the training area. This is more barracks, and this is just a spare room. This is the prison. This is the Nexus chamber. This is and these are the flooded passages here. That's flooded with water, and then so each of these, this is like the main map, and then you have the little key over here for the map, which is this column here is still a work in progress. But then we go into each of we have the 3 different environments: the fresh air environment, the fog-filled environment, and the flooded environment. And those are this area here. This is the flooded environment. This is the fog-filled environment here, and this is the fresh air environment here. So they have different types of encounters that happen as you move from different area to area. It's not a very large map, but if you get into a fight, there's a lot of circular movement that you can do through these different doors. I still need to do the page for the door mechanisms to explain how the door operates. I have a diagram for there's a turn crank that can slowly open up the door like a portcullis, but it's also a giant punch button that is default set to slam shut when you press the button, and there's locks on them, and then you can pick open the lock and breach the door so you can make it rise up anyway. So there's a lot of if the characters are detected and viewed as a threat, they can start locking down all the different rooms, just trying to isolate the characters, and then bring in troops to try to corner them, and then have an NPC epilogue. But if you're smart, you can sneak in through the cemetery, through a secret passage here. The flooded fort leads to this flooded chamber here that you can use to either come up through this grating here in the ceiling that leads to this grating here in this abandoned guard tower, or if you really want to be brave, you could swim underneath the poisonous water through these underwater passages through the fissures into the flooded chamber. And that's a quick path, slogging through waist-high water through here. There's a black pudding here. There's an Otiug here. There's a shambling mound here. There's a roper with piercers here. But this can lead out of the flooded area into the fog-filled chambers, leading you to the Nexus, or you can slog through a bunch of monsters, like monster fight, and then you get through that. So if you want to do a one-shot, you can just literally teleport the characters in, and they land in the bog here, and there's just a bunch of monsters for them to fight. You just close off access to this tunnel here, so they just can't go that way. It dead ends, and you only give them this path to slog through to get to the Nexus chamber, and then fight undead and the necromancers and the sorcerer and stuff like that. So you got 1, 2, teleportation is 3, and then this is the stairway that just leads down into. That's not written correct. This is a flawed map here that we're looking at, but I need to replace this image. But if you take the spiral stairs down, different areas, and then. Here we go. Here's the gatehouse on the top side entrance. This is an elevator shaft that drops down. Here, I'll show you real quick, and then I gotta go. Art, Act 2, Region C, gatehouse. So here's the gatehouse. The gatehouse. There's soldiers set up in a camp around here. This is a fresh air vein that while this is petaled, it creates a zone, basically a wind wall effect that pushes all the poisonous fog out of the area so you can breathe normally. So you can see like all the tents are situated so that they're inside of this protective ring here, and you have another one here that's guarding this stairway that leads down into the underground facility. And this is just obviously these numbers aren't done yet, but this is an elevator shaft that doesn't work anymore. It's just basically a chimney that leads underground. And so the team can sneak into this area here, and if they wanted to, climb up these stairs and then hop the wall and then dive down without interacting with the soldiers here at all. Or if they're captured or like have authority here and they're waving a badge, they can just like walk in from the flooded fort over this way or the cemetery down this way. Both of them will lead them here, and this is where the captain of the guard is situated. And you can have a social conversation and either convince him, hey, you need to let us in so we can explore this thing, or piss him off and he'll end up betraying you. But either way, if you walk in, then you can just walk down the stairway here. And if you walk down that stairs, then here's the spiral stairway. Here's like a light piton that's mounted into the wall. So you can just take the spiral stairway downward and further down, and that leads you down here to the ground, which is over here. And this is the ground level, and this is the broken elevator that doesn't work anymore. And this will lead you to the teleportation chamber. This leads you the southern door into the barracks. So if your character's just like waltzing in like they own the place, and they're there just to crack some skulls under the authority of Carnathi law, you can run the scenario that way, and we give you all the details throughout the adventure. Like, here's what happens if you just come through with bravado. Here's what happens if you try to sneak in. Here's the different points of access you can sneak in through. So you've got like the main entrance, walking down the stairs as an invited guest or an authority figure. You can sneak your way down the elevator shaft through here. And you can sneak your way in through the cemetery hidden passage here, which is what the Emerald Claw uses to capture people and dump them into the prison for sacrifice without necessarily having to tell the lab techs and the normal guards up front that, hey, we're doing illegal shit back in the back of the house here, but they're not allowed back here anyway. Here's a bunch of crates that they have set up to show, like, this is as far as normal guards are allowed to go. Past here, it's Emerald Claw only. And so, you have these two different, like, front of the house and the back of the house. And the guards, the normal guards that are in the front of the house and at top and the surface of the manifest zone trying to contain the undead threat, they're like, these guys are fucking around. They're causing this problem. How do we get out of this situation without us basically putting our neck on the line? So they're desperate for someone to come in and give them a reason to betray their boss and to fight against the back of the house with you. So if that's how you run the game, that's where the characters end up at, then great, go ahead and do that. Because the main threat is the actual Nexus zone here in the Manifest Zone. So this is where the actual Manifest Zone is being generated out on the surface around us. So, oh shit, it's time. I'm late. I have to go. So yeah, this is what I'm doing off screen is basically building out all these different points of the adventure, like each of the separate little areas, describing each of them. So we zoom in on, like, here's the barracks. This whole page is just basically, like, this page is talking about the barracks. And once you're done with this page, and here's your barracks map, once you're done with this page, next page we're moving on to another section. So the storehouse, the laboratory over here, and then on the next page of the laboratory, it details all of the experiments that are being done in the laboratory and what your team can gain out of that, and how to learn, like, how to use the different, like, if you decide to take over the Manifest Zone and keep it as your own resource, here's the different things that you can build with it. And then we have the back of the appendix, like, details, like, all the different alchemical things that you can build with this stuff. So, like, it's a functioning, like, Bastion facility laboratory. It's like all these different rooms are facilities in a Bastion if your team wants to take command of this location and make it their own Bastion and basically utilize it as resources. So armory and the spare chamber. Each of these, all of these different areas are all isolated, basically instances of different ideas. Like here's the officers' quarters, and I have enough space down here to have like a scene of the team like trying to break into the safe, for instance. So we can have that down here. And then the secret passage and the prison. And here's like all the details about like the prisoners in the prison, but it's all contained. Everything is contained, like self-contained into separate pages, where if you look at the page, you get all the information that you need about that area. So you can just flip through the book and stay on top of each area as they move from area to area. You just flip to that area. And when we have it all properly built, you'll be able to click here on the map, any one of these rooms. Like I can click on this room here. If I click on the storeroom, it'll automatically bounce you to where the storeroom is at. So here you are in the storeroom, and it'll just click to this section. So you'll automatically get that. And then and then we have the icons down here. This will be part 3. So if you click the part 3 icon button, that will take you back to the main map again. So you can navigate the map in real time with your team inside the document, bouncing from room to room by clicking on it. Because we can build hypertext maps inside of the Word document that remain touch active in the PDF. And that will just navigate you around inside the document, taking you from room to room, encounter to encounter in different regions, all through the navigation buttons down here. Kind of like what we have with the Spelljammer book. So, thanks, Steve. Yeah, so it's gonna be. So when we have it all built, it's gonna be a really fucking cool, just a toolkit, like just like a little module you can use. And like you can just, since it's 16 by 9, you can just have it on your tablet, on your tabletop, either in front of you in live space, or if you're playing in Roll20, you can still just have this hanging out with you. That you can like scroll through to find the page that you need and click into it. It's like, hey, here's. And since it's a 12-point font, people with normal vision will be able to read this incredibly easy. Even I could read it if I hold it up. And yeah, so it becomes a really useful mechanical document that is active and interactive for the DM to be able to navigate through the adventure just as easily as the characters are moving from room to room, like literally. So it's a lot of work to build all that out, but fuck, I really love it. This is going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, it's the technology is super cool. I don't have to just make a PDF book. I can make it a tool, like a literal toolbox, a control panel that, like, they talk about like control panel design, where all the information is like on a single page and it's like has this control panel format. I'm literally making a control panel for you to be able to manipulate the document, to be able to navigate around inside of it. So anyway, that's the idea. So that's what we're building, which takes a fuck ton of time, which is why it's taken so long. But God, it's going to be cool. Oh, shit. Thanks, Nightmare. Man, so this is Wednesday. This is it for today. I'm going to be back tomorrow morning. We're going to start working on our next environment piece, the cemetery, the cemetery escape scene. And then Thursday night we'll be back working on more Spelljammer stuff. And we're upgrading our characters to 9th level. For the Mega Dungeon to run and play testing this weekend, assuming that I still have people that are willing to play. So thanks a lot for hanging out with me, guys. I'll see you on the other side, and thanks to everyone that's been, checking out the channel. I really appreciate everyone being around. So I'll see you guys in the future. I'm out of here.